Rain hammered against the windows hard enough to shake them. Nia Bennett stood outside apartment 1408 with a paper bag of takeout growing cold in her hands. Her phone screen glowed again. 3 missed calls, no reply. Inside the apartment someone laughed, not Jae-hoon, a woman. Nia froze, then she heard the bed creak. The hallway suddenly felt too small, too hot, too quiet. She pushed the door open anyway. The smell hit first. Perfume. Wine. Then she saw them. Park Jae-hoon sat shirtless against the headboard while Yoon Narai pulled his blanket over herself, too late to matter. Nobody spoke. Nobody rushed to explain. Jae-hoon looked annoyed, like she had interrupted him. Narai avoided eye contact first. That hurt worse somehow, not because they betrayed her, because they looked relieved the secret was finally over. Nia's voice came out hollow. How long? Jae-hoon sighed heavily. Like this conversation exhausted him. A few months. The paper bag slipped from her fingers. Soup spilled across the floor. Nobody moved. Then Jae-hoon made the mistake that destroyed everything. You're acting dramatic. Silence, pure silence. Something inside Nia cracked quietly, not loudly, not theatrically, quietly. The kind of break that changes a person forever. Narai stood up quickly. Jae-hoon, no, Nia whispered. Her eyes stayed on him, not her, him. You let me love you in public while humiliating me in private. Jae-hoon rolled his eyes. We were already having problems. That sentence almost made her laugh. Problems, like betrayal, was a scheduling conflict. Nia backed toward the door slowly. Neither of them followed. Neither of them cared enough to stop her. And somehow that hurt more than the cheating itself. The hallway blurred as tears filled her eyes. Behind the apartment door she heard them arguing immediately. Not about guilt. About her reaction. Nia walked into the rain without opening her umbrella. Seoul blurred around her in streaks of neon and headlights. Pink signs reflected against wet pavement. Luxury cars sprayed water beside her. Somewhere nearby, music blasted from a nightclub rooftop. The city kept moving like her heartbreak meant nothing. Her phone buzzed. Jae-hoon, don't make this bigger than it is. Nia blocked his number instantly, then kept walking. A black sedan slowed beside the sidewalk. Dark windows, expensive, watching her. The car stayed beside her for 3 full seconds. Then drove away. She never saw the face inside, but someone inside the vehicle smiled faintly. She didn't know it then, but that moment had already changed everything. Months later, Nia no longer cried. That version of her disappeared somewhere between sleepless nights and silent train rides. Now she worked later, dressed sharper, spoke colder. People complimented her confidence constantly. None of them realized confidence and emotional exhaustion looked identical from a distance. She stopped posting online, stopped trusting easily, stopped believing attention meant sincerity. Yet somehow Jae-hoon still found ways to appear. Mutual friends mentioned him casually. Narai posted engagement photos carefully cropped to show luxury restaurants and matching watches. Every picture looked staged. Every smile looked rehearsed. Nia ignored all of it. Until one night her phone buzzed during dinner. Unknown number. Jae-hoon, you should come to the pre-wedding dinner next week. She blinked slowly. No apology, no shame, just confidence. Like he genuinely believed she would still show up when called. Then another message appeared. We're all adults now. No hard feelings. Nia laughed out loud. A bitter laugh. The woman at the next table looked over nervously. Nia typed fast. Delete my number. Before she could send it, her friend Mina snatched the phone from her hand. Oh, absolutely not, Mina said. You're going, Nia scoffed, to his wedding event, to survive it. Mina leaned closer and preferably looking expensive. Nia shook her head. I'm not playing games with those people anymore. No, Mina replied calmly. You're reminding them you survived them. That sentence lingered longer than it should have. Mina smirked suddenly. At least show up with someone hotter. Nia rolled her eyes. But the idea stayed. 3 days later, she stood outside one of Seoul's most luxurious hotels waiting for a man she rented online. The wind whipped through the street sharply. Black luxury vehicles lined the entrance. Men in tailored suits stepped out beneath gold lights. Nia checked her phone again. No reply. Her fake date was late. Guests continued entering while panic crawled up her spine. Inside waited Jae-hoon, Narai, everyone who watched her get replaced. Then she saw him, tall, black suit. Hands in his pockets, dark tattoos disappearing beneath his cuffs, sharp jawline, cold eyes. He stood alone beside the entrance while security guards avoided direct eye contact with him. Even from across the street, his presence felt dangerous. Not violent, controlled, like someone used to people obeying instantly. Without thinking twice, Nia crossed the sidewalk and grabbed his arm. "You're late." The man looked down at her hand slowly, then at her face. His expression barely changed. "You grabbed the wrong man," Nia blinked. "What? I'm not your date." Her stomach dropped. Oh my God, but before she could step away, camera flashes exploded nearby. Guests turning, people watching. And suddenly the man's expression shifted slightly. Not amusement, curiosity, like he found the situation unexpectedly entertaining. Nia lowered her voice urgently. "Please." One word, that was all. The stranger studied her carefully. Rainwater glimmered against her black dress, her nervous breathing, her clenched jaw, the humiliation she refused to show publicly. Then his eyes flicked toward the hotel entrance. Several men near the doors immediately straightened the moment they noticed him. Fear crossed their faces instantly. He leaned closer slightly. "What exactly happens if I walk away?" Nia swallowed. "Two horrible people think they ruined my life permanently." A long silence followed. Then the corner of his mouth moved faintly. Not a smile, something more dangerous, interesting. He placed one hand lightly against her lower back, possessive, controlled, calculated. Then he guided her toward the entrance, and every single person near the doors suddenly looked terrified. If this story already has you hooked, don't forget to like and subscribe, because the man Nia just dragged into that hotel is far more dangerous than she realizes. And the scariest part, he still hasn't told her his name. The ballroom went silent for half a second. One moment people laughed beneath crystal chandeliers and soft jazz. The next, every conversation died the instant the stranger walked inside beside Nia. Eyes followed him, not casually, carefully. Men straightened their posture. Women lowered their voices. Even hotel staff suddenly looked nervous. Nia glanced sideways at him. "Why is everyone staring at you like that?" "Maybe they like my suit." His tone stayed flat, dry, unreadable. Nia almost smiled despite herself. Then she spotted Jae-hoon across the ballroom. His confidence vanished instantly. Jae-hoon stood near the champagne tower in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than most people's rent. Narai clung to his arm in white silk designed to look innocent. They both froze, especially when they saw who walked beside Nia. Narai recovered first, fake smile, sharp eyes. Nia smiled back smoothly. "Congratulations." Jae-hoon's gaze stayed locked on the man beside her, not jealousy, fear, real fear. The stranger noticed it too. He leaned closer slightly. "You didn't mention your ex looks like he owes people money." Nia nearly choked on her drink. Jae-hoon forced a laugh. "And you are?" the stranger answered calmly. "Someone she prefers." Silence. A dangerous silence. Narai's smile twitched. Jae-hoon's jaw tightened instantly. That answer changed the entire room. Power shifted immediately, and somehow he handed it to her without effort. They moved deeper into the ballroom while whispers followed behind them. Nia kept noticing strange things. Nobody bumped into him accidentally. Nobody interrupted him. A waiter nearly dropped an entire tray after recognizing him. "You still haven't told me your name," Nia whispered. "You still haven't apologized for kidnapping me." "That depends. Are you dangerous?" He glanced at her calmly. "Yes." The honesty caught her off guard. No performance, no fake charm, just truth, and somehow that felt more unsettling than a lie would have. A group of businessmen approached carefully. One older man bowed his head slightly toward the stranger, not respectfully, fearfully. "Good evening, sir." The businessmen left almost immediately afterward. Okay, definitely not normal. Then Jae-hoon made the mistake of drinking too much. "You know," Jae-hoon said loudly across the dinner table, "Nia always had a thing for dramatic men. She likes attention, that's her problem." Old humiliation rose sharply inside her chest. The stranger noticed the shift in her breathing immediately. Then he spoke softly across the table. "Tell me something." He looked directly at Jae-hoon. "When you betrayed her, did you at least have the courage to admit you downgraded?" Silence crashed across the table. Absolute silence. Jae-hoon's face darkened instantly. Narai looked furious. Nia stared at the stranger in shock. That wasn't protection. That was calculated humiliation. And somehow he knew exactly where to strike. Jae-hoon stood abruptly. "You don't know anything about us." "No," the stranger replied calmly. "But I know weak men become loud when embarrassed." Jae-hoon noticed two security guards subtly moving closer. Not toward him, toward the stranger, like they feared what might happen if he got angry. Jae-hoon sat back down quietly. The stranger returned his attention to his wine like nothing happened. Nia lowered her voice carefully. "You didn't have to do that." "Yes," he replied, "I did." "Why?" His gaze shifted toward her slowly. "Because you looked like you were about to let him hurt you again." That answer hit harder than expected. Then the ballroom doors opened. 3 black luxury vehicles had arrived outside. Men in dark suits entered first. Earpieces, gloves, cold expressions. The stranger sighed quietly beside her, like this interruption annoyed him. One of the bodyguards approached carefully. "Sir, your grandfather is asking for you." Nia's stomach dropped. Then she saw it. The tattoo beneath the bodyguard's wrist. A black serpent wrapped around a dagger. The same symbol embroidered subtly inside the stranger's cuff. The stranger stood slowly. Every eye in the ballroom followed him. He adjusted his watch calmly, then finally looked at Nia. "You should stop renting strange men." Nia stared up at him. "Who are you?" A pause. Seo Kang-jun. The name hit the room like a gunshot. Several guests immediately looked away. One woman nearly spilled her champagne. Jae-hoon went pale, actually pale. Narai whispered under her breath, "Oh my God." Nia looked between them. "What?" Narai stared at her like she'd accidentally walked into traffic. "You seriously don't know who he is?" Then suddenly the black sedan from months ago flashed inside her memory. Rain, dark windows, watching her. Kang-jun noticed the recognition in her eyes instantly, and that tiny reaction changed his expression. Interest again, dangerous interest. Nia stepped back slowly. "What exactly do you do?" One elderly guest whispered carefully. "His family owns half this city." Another muttered quietly. "And controls the other half." Kang-jun's eyes never left Nia, but his voice turned colder now. "You should go home." The shift irritated her immediately. A second ago he defended her publicly. Now he wanted distance. She stepped closer instead. "No." Several nearby guests looked horrified. Nobody told Seo Kang-jun no. He studied her carefully, like he genuinely couldn't decide whether she was brave or reckless. Maybe both. Then his phone buzzed. Something dark crossed his face. Real darkness. He read the message once, jaw tightening slightly. Then locked the phone, fear not for himself, for something else, somewhere else. Nia barely slept after the dinner. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the room's reaction again. Fear, not respect, fear. Her phone buzzed at 2:13 a.m., unknown number. "You looked disappointed when I left." No greeting, no explanation, just arrogance. Nia typed back immediately. "You watch me cry in public for entertainment." 3 dots appeared instantly. "I watched you survive humiliation without begging for sympathy." Her fingers paused above the screen. "Most people perform strength. You actually have it." Nia stared at the words longer than she should have, then locked her phone without replying. Across the city, Kang-jun sat alone inside a dark penthouse office overlooking the Han River. Half-finished whiskey untouched beside stacks of paperwork. A man stood near the doorway nervously. "Sir, your grandfather is demanding an explanation." Kang-jun ignored him. Instead, he replayed the wedding dinner in his mind. The way Nia lied badly. Grabbed his arm casually. Looked directly into his eyes without calculating social consequences first. Nobody treated him normally anymore. Nobody, except her. His phone lit again. Security footage filled the screen. Rainy street, months earlier. Nia crying alone outside Jae-hoon's apartment. Kang-jun watched silently. The assistant near the doorway swallowed carefully. "You've been having her followed for months." "No." A pause. "Only after she walked away crying." "Why?" Kang-jun stared out toward the city quietly. She looked like someone standing at the edge of something dangerous. Then softer, almost to himself, "And I recognized that." By Friday night, online gossip had already spread from the wedding dinner. Whispers, photos, speculation. Jae-hoon looks miserable. Nia upgraded. Who is he? Nia hated how much satisfaction it gave her. Then she spotted Jae-hoon's name on a luxury brand event guest list. Perfect. The event overlooked Seoul through massive glass walls and silver lighting. Everything smelled expensive. Nia arrived in a fitted black dress. Controlled, elegant, Untouchable, she noticed Jae-hoon instantly. He noticed her too. Regret flickered briefly in his expression. Good, he approached with practiced confidence. You look different. So do you, Nia replied, more stressed. Jae-hoon lowered his voice. What exactly are you doing with Kang-joon? Hello, no apology, straight to fear. Why? Nia asked. Because men like him don't get involved without a reason. His hesitation told her something important. Jae-hoon wasn't just intimidated by Kang-joon. He knew something specific. Before she could push further, the room changed. Black suits entered first. Then Kang-joon appeared behind them. He spotted Nia immediately, not eventually, like he searched for her first. Jae-hoon stepped back automatically. Kang-joon stopped beside Nia, not touching her, not claiming her, but the entire room understood she belonged near him now. Then he looked toward her calmly. You ignored my messages. You sent two, still ignored. Jae-hoon watched power shift again, and Nia noticed something new form between her and Kang-joon. Not romance, not yet, something more honest than that, mutual recognition. She turned toward Kang-joon with a soft smile. Maybe you should have asked properly if you wanted my attention. Kang-joon understood what she was doing immediately. Using him, manipulating the situation. Most men would resent that. Instead, he adapted instantly. One hand slid lightly against her waist. You're right, he murmured near her ear. I can be more persuasive. Heat rushed unexpectedly through Nia's chest. Damn him. Later, when Jae-hoon finally left, not confidently escaping, Nia exhaled slowly. That was unnecessary. He wanted to upset you. I could handle him. Kang-joon studied her quietly. I know, not controlling, not possessive. Acknowledging another shift. Then his phone buzzed again. The mood changed instantly. Nia noticed how his eyes hardened every time certain messages arrived. Pressure followed him constantly. People feared him, but something clearly hunted him too. You protect people while sounding emotionally unavailable, Nia said. His gaze sharpened slightly. You'll need to be specific. You know exactly what I mean. For the first time she caught him off guard. Barely, but enough. His eyes lingered on her longer now. Then he said quietly, you noticed too much. 3 days later, Kang-joon's black car waited outside her office building in the rain. She crossed her arms. You keep appearing like a threat. You keep noticing me anyway. You've been following me, protecting you. He opened the car door. Get in. No, he stepped out finally, tall, controlled, frustrated now. He handed her a tablet. Articles flooded the screen. Mysterious woman linked to Seoul family heir. Social climber rumors spread online. Attached photos showed her leaving work, entering restaurants, standing outside her apartment. They followed me. They'll do worse next. Rage replaced fear instantly, not at the reporters, at him. This is your fault. Kang-joon didn't argue, didn't deny it. That somehow made her angrier. You brought chaos into my life and act like protection fixes it. His jaw tightened. I warned you. No, you hid things. Rain slid down her face while headlights blurred behind them. Then he said something unexpected. I don't know how to do this correctly. It sounded honest, too honest. Everyone around me either fears me or wants something from me, he continued. And what do you want from me? He answered too quickly. Peace. Nia laughed softly, broken, disbelieving. You picked the wrong woman for that. Something shifted in his expression then, not amusement, recognition, like he understood exactly what loneliness looked like because he carried it too. A motorcycle suddenly sped past the sidewalk, too close. Glass exploded. Red paint splattered across the pavement beside her heels. Kang-joon reacted instantly. One arm pulled Nia against him while security appeared from nowhere. A wine bottle, attached note. His face darkened immediately. Nia grabbed his wrist before he could hide it. What does it say? Stop dragging civilins into family business. Then a black SUV screeched around the corner. An older man stepped out slowly holding an umbrella, silver hair, expensive suit, cold eyes. Everyone around Kang-joon lowered their heads immediately, even security. Kang-joon's expression hardened. Grandfather. The grandfather looked toward Nia once. That was all, one glance, yet somehow she felt completely examined. You embarrassed the family, the old man said calmly. She's not involved. She is now. The old man continued calmly. Your father made the same mistake. That sentence hit something raw inside Kang-joon, something personal. He looked away for half a second. Tiny reaction. Huge meaning. Then the grandfather turned toward Nia. You should leave Seoul. Women near this family rarely stay safe. Then one final sentence before entering the SUV. You look too much like her. The vehicle disappeared into rainy traffic. Nia looked toward Kangjun instantly. Who? Silence. You disappear emotionally every time things become real, Nia said quietly. You pull people close, then shut down the second honesty costs you something. Kangjun looked genuinely cornered. I'm trying to keep you safe. No, you're trying to control damage. That landed hard, because part of him knew she was right. Nia handed back the tablet. I'm done being the confused girl chasing answers. Then she walked away first, not crying, not waiting, leaving him standing alone in the rain while cameras flashed around him like lightning. And for the first time in years, Seo Kang-jun looked abandoned. 2 nights later, Nia attended an elite charity gala alone, not because she wanted to, because she refused to hide. The ballroom glowed gold beneath crystal lights while orchestras played softly overhead. Nia entered wearing silver silk and confidence sharp enough to survive war. Whispers started immediately. Then she saw her. Jang Hae-won. Elegant black gown, perfect posture, cold beauty, standing beside her Seo Kang-jun. But Kang-jun looked trapped, not romantic, not happy, trapped, like a man already sentenced to something irreversible. Hae-won noticed Nia immediately and smiled, not a warm smile, a patient one, the smile of a woman already planning the ending. And then the plot twist Nia never saw coming. Mina appeared beside her suddenly, Nia's closest friend, her only ally in every difficult room. Mina looked nervous. Nia, I need to tell you something. Nia turned slowly. Something about Mina's expression felt wrong. The wedding dinner, Mina whispered. I told Jae-hoon you'd be there. Nia froze. What? And the brand event? Mina's voice dropped lower. He asked me to let him know your schedule. I thought he just wanted to apologize in person. I didn't know. How long? Nia's voice came out hollow. The same words, the same hollow voice. A different betrayal with the same shape as the first. Mina's eyes filled with tears. 3 months. The ballroom blurred slightly. Not because Jae-hoon had outsmarted her. Because the person feeding him information had held her hand through every breakdown he caused, every sleepless night, every rebuilding. Mina had watched her survive humiliation while quietly extending it. Did Kangjun know? Nia asked carefully. A pause that answered before Mina spoke. He figured it out 2 weeks ago. He was trying to find proof before telling you. That's why he kept pushing her away. Not emotionally unavailable, protecting her from a second ambush. The weight of that realization landed differently than everything else that night, because it meant the one person she trusted least had been more honest with her than the one she trusted most. Nia stepped away from Mina slowly, not screaming, not crying, just done. Then the lights dimmed, the ballroom quieted, a giant screen illuminated above the stage. Engagement portraits flooded the ballroom walls in cinematic gold light. Seo Kang-jun, Jang Hae-won. Soft music swelled. Applause erupted automatically. Every person in the room turned toward Nia, not sympathy, entertainment. Phones lifted immediately. Kangjun moved instantly across the ballroom floor. Hae-won intercepted him smoothly. You hit her beautifully, Hae-won said, voice carrying just enough for nearby guests to hear. Hae-won approached Nia directly. Elegant, perfect, terrifying. You must be Nia, I've heard so much about you. A gentle pause. You're prettier than I expected. I understand the distraction now. Distraction. That word cut deep. Did he tell you about our engagement? Hae-won asked softly. Kangjun stepped forward. Nia, she looked at him, really looked at him, and this time she understood the full picture. The engagement arranged years before she existed in his life. The grandfather controlling everything from a distance. The surveillance. The bodyguards, Mina. Every piece clicked into something sad rather than sinister. A man trapped inside an empire he hadn't chosen, reaching toward something real and failing her in the process. She understood it, and it didn't make it acceptable. Then Jae-hoon appeared through the crowd wearing fake concern. Narai smirked instantly. She didn't know? Jae-hoon approached slowly. That's the problem with chasing powerful men. You confuse attention with importance. Narai crossed her arms smugly. You always needed someone choosing you to feel valuable. The room waited for collapse. Again, instead, Nia straightened slowly, eyes dry, voice calm. No, she looked directly at Narai first. You slept with your best friend's boyfriend and still built your personality around moral superiority. Narai's face dropped instantly. Nia turned toward Jaehoon. And you destroy women emotionally because deep down you know powerful men will always make you feel small. People nearby exchanged looks immediately. Power shifted again. Finally, she looked at Kang-joon. And somehow that hurt worst of all. You knew exactly how public shame destroyed me before. Silence. You watched me rebuild myself after people like them broke me. Kang-joon couldn't answer, because she was right. And you still let me walk into this blind. Seo Kang-joon looked ashamed. Not strategically regretful. Ashamed. The way a person looks when they see themselves clearly for the first time and dislike what they find. Nia stepped back slowly. I was never in love with your power. Her voice trembled slightly now. I loved the version of you that only existed when nobody else was watching. That hit him like something irreversible, and that's the cruelest part. She walked out beneath camera flashes and whispers. Nobody stopped her, not even Kang-joon, because he finally understood something devastating. Loving someone while destroying them still counted as destruction. Outside, freezing rain crashed against the city again. Nia walked blindly through flashing headlights while tears finally escaped. Behind her, ballroom doors exploded open. Kang-joon appeared seconds later. No security, no bodyguards, just him. Nia, she kept walking. He caught her wrist gently, not controlling, desperate. I ended the engagement, he said immediately. Nia laughed painfully. 5 minutes too late. I'll fix this. There is no fixing this. Rain soaked both of them completely now. Kang-joon stepped closer, for once stripped of power. No cold mask, no control, only regret. My father loved someone outside this family, he admitted quietly. My grandfather destroyed her life until she disappeared. That's why he said you look like her. Silence. I became exactly like the men I spent my entire life hating. Nia pulled her wrist away slowly. I can't save you from yourself. Then she left. And this time Kang-joon didn't follow. Weeks passed. He destroyed his own family publicly, press conferences, financial investigations, canceled alliances. He exposed corruption tied to the Seo empire himself. His grandfather retaliated viciously. Board members turned, investors fled, everything burned, and Kang-joon led it, because losing power hurt less than losing her. 3 months later, Nia sat alone inside a quiet cafe near the river while winter snow drifted softly outside. Peace finally felt possible again. Then someone sat across from her. Kang-joon, but different, no bodyguards, no expensive watch, no tailored armor, just exhaustion. He looked thinner, human. I resigned from the company, he said quietly. I know. I lost almost everything. A pause. I deserved to. He slid a folder slowly across the table. Inside contained evidence. Names, accounts. Proof that Haewon, Jaehoon, and Narai had quietly coordinated rumors against her for months. And near the bottom, Mina's messages to Jaehoon. Every location, every schedule, everything. Not to protect Nia, to keep her isolated and manageable while the people around her controlled the narrative. Nia stared at the pages for a long time. You knew about Mina before the gala, she said finally. 2 weeks before. Why didn't you tell me immediately? Kang-joon looked tired. Because I thought I could handle it quietly without hurting you. Again, I chose damage control over honesty. He looked directly at her. I was wrong, again. Snow drifted outside the cafe windows, soft, indifferent. The city continued without caring about either of them. Real protection should have cost me something first, he said quietly. It should have cost me your anger, your disappointment. I avoided that because I was a coward. Silence settled between them, not uncomfortable, heavy with everything that had already happened and couldn't be undone. I don't forgive you yet, Nia whispered. Kang-joon nodded once. I know. And Mina, Nia continued carefully. I need to handle that myself. I know that too. Then finally, for the first time in his life, he apologized without defending himself. No explanations, no context, no architecture of reasons designed to reduce his fault. Just accountability offered plainly to someone who had earned the right to receive it plainly. And somehow that hurt more than the betrayal ever did. Because now she finally believed him. Because believing him meant grieving the version of their beginning that should have existed but didn't. Grieving what they might have been if he had chosen honesty earlier, in a quieter room before everything burned. Nia looked out toward the snow-covered street for a long moment, then back at him. Should have told me about Mina the morning you found out. Yes. And the engagement before the gala. Yes. And your grandfather and your father and the sedan and all of it, she exhaled slowly. You should have trusted me with the ugly parts before the beautiful ones. Kangjun held her gaze without looking away. Yes. Outside, Seoul kept moving. Neon signs reflected against snow instead of rain for once, softer, less violent. The city looked almost forgiving from inside that small cafe. Nia wrapped both hands around her coffee cup, warm, steady, decided. I'm not starting over with you, she said quietly. Kang Jun nodded. He had expected nothing less. But I'm not finished with this conversation either. That sentence landed differently than anything else. Not forgiveness. Not a door reopened. Something rarer than both. The possibility of honesty between two people who had finally stopped performing for each other. Outside in the cold city, somewhere across Seoul, the people who had spent months engineering her humiliation were about to discover something important. The woman they expected to stay broken had been paying attention the entire time. And the man they assumed would protect his power above everything else had chosen her instead. Not loudly, not theatrically, quietly. The kind of choice that changes a person forever. If you made it to the end, like and subscribe for more intense cinematic drama stories. And tell me in the comments, would you forgive Seo Kang-joon after everything he did? Or are some kinds of love too destructive to survive?